So yes, I'll answer her call and see how I can help her.
Okay, thanks. Okay, well, it is 12:08 p.m. and I would like to call this meeting to order. Hillsborough County Community Action Board Executive Meeting, Thursday, September 17th, 2020, 12 noon, virtual meeting is being called to order. Introductions, I can see that we have we have Jennifer Anderson.
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Chair, Mr. Joey Henderson.
Here. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Kelly Mistrada.
I'm here.
Marcia Sedona.
I'm here.
Maria Gillis.
Good afternoon.
Sharon Gordon.
Present.
William Thomas.
Here.
Audrey Ziegler.
Good afternoon, I'm here.
Okay, we have a call-in number. Is that Noreen Copeland-Miller?
Yeah.
Okay. And I mentioned it, but we have Mr. Jerry, which is our transcriber on the line. So, invocation. Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Henderson, would you do the honors, please?
Absolutely. Please join me. Heavenly Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together to discuss the concerns and issues of those who are in greatest of need throughout Hillsborough County. We ask that you add a blessing upon this meeting, upon our leadership, and to bless those who are striving to get onto this call. These and many other blessings we ask in your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Allegiance. If we can all repeat together. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Sedona, would you do the honors of the mission statement, please?
Yes. My apologies. I had to go back to the agenda. The Hillsborough County Community Action Board partners with community stakeholders to stabilize and empower vulnerable individuals and families to achieve self-sufficiency through advocacy and essential services.
Thank you, Ms. Sedona. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
William Thomas, Madam Chair, so moved.
Second, Noreen Miller.
It's been motioned and seconded that the agenda for Thursday, September 17th, 2020 be approved. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? The agenda has been approved. Standing committee reports. We'll start with the executive committee. This is our executive committee meeting. For this month, we will follow the items on the agenda and any other items that need to be discussed, we will discuss those as well. So the only question I have as far as the executive committee, as far as a question for myself, is the SECA conference. Derek or Sharon, do we have any updates on that, and how many board members is requesting to attend?
Ms. Hill, I will defer to Mr. Guida or Ms. Gillis regarding the SECA conference. Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Hill. So far, I've only received a request from yourself. Staff put that out there to the board. Just waiting to hear back from everybody. And so far, just yourself has confirmed that they wanted to attend. I don't know if Mr. Simmons or Mr. Thomas or Ms. Copeland Miller, who were hoping to attend in person, if they still want to attend virtually or not either.
Madam Chair, I didn't respond because I knew I was already registered. I thought so. That's Ms. Miller.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Thomas, I saw your hand.
Yes, Madam Chair, I am already am same as Ms. Miller. I am ready and willing to attend virtually, and I've already planned work-wise to be in place to do so.
Ms. Hill, this is Maria, not to interrupt. To answer your second part of your question, there's sufficient funding if other members would like to attend also. Since there is no travel involved, we have sufficient funds. So if you want to open it up to more members, you can.
Actually, I believe staff sent that out already, asking board members to attend because they did bring that up. I think in our previous board meeting. So I just wanted to see who followed up so I can go ahead and do the approval, because if you look at the agenda, it says the request has not yet been approved. So I want to make sure that we're falling within the timeline that we need to for registration fees, etc. So as of today, I would like to go ahead and approve for those participants, including myself, that has already submitted their names to attend. And Mr. Guida, if you to set a time frame, do we need to set a time frame for any additional members? Because this is a November conference, and I'm sure that the registration fees are going to be due soon.
Yeah, with it being virtually and being changing, I'm not sure what the deadlines are for registration, but I do appreciate you approving everyone who has already confirmed going, and I will follow up with Mr. Simmons to see if he wants to as well. As far as the time frame, I would leave that to the board on for that.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure that we do it within a reasonable amount of time, because there's additional dollars in the budget, we don't want to just spend extra dollars for late fees. We can put that money towards something different as far as training for the entire board. So as soon as you hear from any other board members, just please let me know through an email so I can go ahead and approve you to process that paperwork.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes, I'm just checking my schedule, and I would like to attend the SECA conference as well.
Okay, great.
And this is virtual, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to make sure I can have those days off and give it my full attention. Thank you.
And if I'm not mistaken, Derek sent out a description. And please, guys, forgive me if I'm crossing things up. I have tons of projects that I'm working on, not by choice. They just kind of got dropped on me in the last couple of weeks. But anyway, Derek sent out a brief description of the SECA conference for everybody to take a look at it when he sent out the request for anyone else that wants to sign up. So you should have that in your email queue. But Mr. Vice Chair, the approval for you to attend is granted. Thank you very much, because we definitely want to take advantage of all the trainings that we can and utilize the dollars that we have on the table to spend. The other thing is that Audrey and I have been in conversation about some different things that we want to implement, as well as some possible additional training opportunities. And I will defer to her to discuss that during her portion of the social services updates. For me, that there is nothing else that I have pinpointed to discuss. And staff can let me know, please, if I'm missing something that I'm addressing at this point. If not, we will move on to the Bylaws Committee. Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Joy Henderson.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. I had sent to the staff a number of dates and times to inform our committee members when they're available to meet. Mr. Guida or staff, did any of the committee members reply?
Mr. Henderson, yes, Ms. Copeland Miller said all those dates and times worked for her. I have not heard back from Ms. Anderson or Ms. Hill if Ms. Hill would like to attend as well as the board chair. So that's my update.
Okay, well, thank you for.
Ms. Vice Chair, this is Jennifer Anderson. I'm good for any of those days.
Okay.
I'll put my schedule around them. So if you'll pick one, I'll work around it.
Excellent.
I'm running behind on emails right now. I've been going through some medical testing, what have you, so I apologize.
No problem. We understand. And so we'll probably just remind people again, tomorrow is the date that they are supposed to have replied. So I know that many folks are checking and double checking their schedules, and we'll by the end of the day tomorrow, end of the business day tomorrow, we'll send out the final date and follow through with a bylaws committee meeting. That's my report. Madam Chair, I think you're muted if you're speaking.
I'm sorry.
Okay, you there? Ms. Hill? I think we're having some difficulty hearing you, Ms. Hill. Anyone else having difficulty?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, skipping bad.
Every other word we're hearing.
We're I'm not getting good reception. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. I look back at the list, and the only issue I may have, Mr. Henderson, all those days are fine for me, but right now I'm gonna just be pretty honest. I am being pulled into different directions with projects here at work. So if something overlaps one of those days, then my apologies, but I will do my best to be available on whatever day that the majority chooses, okay? And the sooner I can get it on my schedule, the better, because I'm not the only person that fills in my schedule.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you. There's no more regarding the bylaws. We can move to budget and finance, Mr. Thomas.
Yes, Madam Chair, William Thomas, Budget and Finance. I have nothing more additional to report other than just just going back over the two submittals documents that we got during the Budget and Finance Committee with the CARES funding that was with a draft budget that was submitted to DEO, as well as the fiscal year 20 budget financial summary that all of us received. The CARES funding, I believe only the Budget and Finance Committee received for submittal by DEO. The last update that we got during the CAB board meeting was that the DEO had shown that the amounts as submitted were entered in the system. So that would conclude that the DEO did approve the CARES funding financial summary as submitted that we received in the Budget and Finance Committee. Other than that, Madam Chair, I have nothing more to report.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Staff, do we have any additional information to add to that, or?
This is Kelly Mistretta. I have nothing to add at this time. I know that I brought it up a couple of times, but I think this is the first time since Mr. Thomas has become the chair of the committee. The reports are not due with the state until the 21st of the month, and I will be working on the report, and as soon as it's done, then Derek will send it out as he normally does.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for your report. Planning and evaluation, Ms. Anderson.
I'm pulling up a paper right now. If you give me just one moment, I apologize. Okay, I had gotten from Sharon. I'd gotten one from Tampa Housing Authority, one from Epic, and then one from Feeding Plant City. Did since the last CAB board meeting where we met with the finance budget and finance committee together, did everyone get a copy of that? Hello?
No. This is Noreen. I did not.
You did not get a copy of those? Because they were supposed to be sent out to you.
Ms. Anderson, during the Planning and Evaluation Committee, Mr. Guida actually resent the email with the attachments.
And I got it as well. During the meeting, I got a copy, and then I got another copy that evening of the CAB board meeting. I got another copy that evening as well. That added on the Feeding Plant City one as well. You know, those I got two different ones that day. I apologize. I'm trying to find a.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. This is Noreen. I did receive those two, the Housing Authority and Epic. I didn't get anything about Feeding Plant City. My apology.
Derek sent that one out the night. It said to board members. I apologize. I was just looking at it and I went back to look at something else. And regardless, I'd like to go to the Epic one, Sharon, if we can, please. I'm a little confused. I can go off that one off the top of my head because I remember being a little. Epic was asking for. Man. Epic was asking for funding for 3 different programs. One of them was for the young men, one of them was for the young ladies, and then there was another program as well. I don't know why I just had this. I don't know why I can't. Um,
Yeah, would you like me
and
to?
you know, the third one, and when you do the math, it doesn't come out. Man, I just had this. It doesn't come out. The math is not right because one's 30,000, one's 10,000, and another one's 10,000,
Mhm.
and that doesn't. The math doesn't come out correctly.
Mhm.
If you
Yes.
look at,
Actually,
are you seeing the same thing? Are you seeing the same thing? I'm not understanding what they're wanting.
mhm. Yeah, actually, I met with the program manager of Epic, Mr. Burke, and we reviewed in detail his proposal. And literally, right before this meeting, probably about 30 minutes before this meeting, he sent an update, and I'll send those out to you based on the conversation that we had with the budget and providing more additional information on their statement of work. They did take out the travel because we discussed that we can't pay for travel, especially now that there's travel restrictions. And it just wouldn't be a cost that we would want to consider for this program, especially during this time. So we haven't had a chance to review it since he literally just sent it 30 minutes prior to this meeting, approximately 30 minutes. But I will send it to you. Tomorrow actually is the deadline for all of the proposals to be resubmitted to us. I also met with Tampa Housing Authority. They resubmitted theirs. And Feeding Plant City, they're seeking to partner with a nonprofit because Feeding Plant City is not a 501c3 nonprofit. And because they need to be registered in SAM and even to be invoiced through the county finance, they would need to be a 501c3. So I do not know the status of their proposal. Just from speaking with her, there appears to be a misunderstanding the purpose of funds. I informed her right now the board is reviewing proposals for youth development. She thought that it was for food distribution services. So I believe there's a disconnect in regards to what.
Yeah, I believe she was putting a proposal in for help with the food pantry, the mobile food pantry.
Yeah.
It started serving the food deserts
Mm-hmm.
because of the extreme need.
Yeah, but right now the proposal. I'm sorry to cut you off.
You didn't, honey. You didn't.
Yeah. So right now the proposals that the board's reviewing is for the youth development category, where College Explorers was. So that's what we're reviewing right now, and that's what has been approved by DEO in that category is youth development related services. So all of the proposals need to relate to youth development.
Okay. Well, once you deal with that, telling her when would be the appropriate time to submit that, because she just hasn't got her 501c. She's a nonprofit corporation, but she's just not got all her bells and whistles, so to speak.
Okay.
So she's going to partner with another agency to be able to do it, if that was took. But, you can discuss with her what would be the appropriate time. So that way I never want any kind of, anyways.
Yeah.
I'll let you deal with that part. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So that one's tabled for now.
Yeah.
She can come back in another, but as far as Epic is concerned, you're going to send that to me and maybe that'll straighten out some of the confusion in that proposal. So
yes, yeah.
I'll contact you. We'll go over it from there. For the housing authority, the one that we got for the housing authority, do we get any other updates on it?
Yeah, they expanded on the budget items. What they've submitted is good. It's solid. We may have to revisit the budget to get more information, but what they've submitted is solid enough that we can move forward with that proposal.
Right. My only question is, where is that property? Is that for a specific property or is that for several different properties.
Yeah. I
So
spoke
that's
with,
what I didn't see.
yeah, it is for Tampa Housing Authority properties. I know that Ms. Gambrell requested, asked if they could consider Section 8 families. However, because it's pallet, they didn't want to, they wanted to ensure that they could serve, because they're only asking for $15,000, and I asked if the board wanted to allocate more to that program, they definitely could accept that. However, they restricted it to their Tampa Housing Authority properties because that is what they could manage with these funds within the period of time that they have to spend it. However,
Right.
it's not off the table on whether they would want to expand that beyond their base. But right now it's restricted to Tampa Housing Authority housing residents.
Because I absolutely agree with you. It's a very solid. Very solid proposal. It was wonderful. I mean, I thought it was great, to be honest with you. And I just 15,000. I was like, only 15,000 for all that. You know, it seemed like a little.
She admitted that they were conservative with what, you know, what was requested. But in all fairness, there wasn't really a guide for them to follow and what we were looking for in a proposal. So they, you know, she just put something together. But they could actually, if they could use more, if the board approves to give them.
Yeah,
more
I mean, because I could go to Lincoln Park right over. I could go to Beesville and spend $15,000 in like 10 minutes on just desks that children need. You know, that's what I'm thinking. $15,000 are going to do all this.
Yeah,
you know, that was one of the. I just use that as a, you know, because even the cheap ones at IKEA, you know, that's gone. You know, for the need children have. I mean, you in these poverty areas with these low-income children and computers and all this stuff that they have listed. So that one is really a solid. But then again, you know, with these type of grants, what they can afford to put out there and wait to get back to, and it's probably a pilot program for thing. From what I'm reading, it's the first time they've done this, so they're probably like wanting to get their toe wet and see how it works out.
Yes.
So that may be it.
Yeah, that's
so
correct.
Definitely, if you'll send me the Epic one and please send the other members of the planning and evaluation committee as well a copy. I'd appreciate it because in the past I didn't say that, and so everybody didn't get a copy, and so it's like we went to a gunfight with a knife. So this, I'm learning on the fly here with this. So if you would do that, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, most definitely.
So those are the only two we've got so far.
Those are the only two, and the Feeding Plant City Partner Agency, who they have until tomorrow to submit. So if they don't submit, then we will only have these two, Epic and Tampa Housing Authority.
Well, I don't think they're going to be honest with you, because we'll talk about it later. But I'm not going to go into it and hold up for the interest of time. I'm not going to go into it. But anyways, I'll let her contact you.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
All right.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
I have a question for Ms. Gordon. So with those two applications, do they look solid enough that they would probably be supported by the board, or are
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Vice Chair, they're both very, very solid. The only thing is the numbers on the Epic one don't add up. I just found them, by the way, just as we're finishing conversation. But in the Tampa Housing Authority, my only concern was they're only. How often do you hear this? They're only asking for 15,000, and if you read the proposal, you're like, really? But because it's really a program.
And just to make sure we're clear, the board has the ability to suggest a greater amount?
Yeah.
Or do we have to stick to what the organizations have requested?
You
That's
can.
Okay.
You have done that before. You've provided a greater amount than what was requested. Actually, combining the two proposals, they're asking for $46,250. So yeah.
I think that once the board looks at it, they're going to agree with me that maybe we should offer them a little more, because I think that it's a really solid. I agree with you. It's very, very solid program, and I'd like to see how it works, and maybe some other people will come along and say, "Wow, that's a really killer program. Let's do this at our." That one's that program where idea were to spread around the county. That'd be awesome. So that would definitely impact a lot of young people. Tampa Housing Authority can't be everything to everybody. So,
So, Miss
was there any other questions? I'm sorry.
Anderson, can you hear me? If I can
Yes.
chime in, I don't have any knowledge of the proposal as of yet, but I do want to just give a little insight on when they say Tampa Housing Authority's properties versus Section 8. It does not mean that Section 8 residents will not be able to participate in any pilot program. It is just basically whether they're on a tenant-based voucher or a project-based voucher. And I think with this proposal, they're looking at where they have locations where they can do like a center, but it does not mean that Section 8 participants will not participate. So it's just understanding the location. It can be a little bit difficult, because you're not necessarily in the industry, but there's a difference between a project-based voucher and a a tenant-based voucher, and it's all still Section 8. So it doesn't mean Section 8 participants will not participate. It just they could live in loops and not have access to the center versus live at the Encore and have access to the center, and they both could be Section 8 residents. Does that make sense?
That does make absolute sense. But however, if you read the proposal, their part of it is services being offered at multiple unit housing. It's really a phenomenal program they're putting together. So it would be great if they can do it at both, where there is multi-unit family housing and, like you said, project versus residence. I understand what you're talking about, only because I used to be a property manager. But I understand where you're coming from. If they can offer both, that's wonderful. But when you read the proposal, you'll understand. But it's really great. It's really great. So, and I understand Miss I think it was Miss Gambrell's question about whether it be eligible for those living in Section 8, not necessarily in one of the multi-family properties. Wasn't that your understanding, Sharon? That was her question?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. But they're saying but Tampa Housing Authority is saying that no, that is not available outside the multi-family units at this time.
Understanding, but we could regroup because we need to contact them anyways on just some very minor items to just get a confirmation on that.
Yeah, just tweak it a little bit. Ask them about that. But as you know, Sharon, there's components in it that they're doing it in these multifamily housing for a reason, so that
that is what had been discussed. But just to follow up on Ms. Hill's response, I'll speak with my contact and get a confirmation.
Okay, that'd be great. Because it would be great if they could do it at both. Just keep that village mentality, which is awesome. A community-minded mentality, taking care of the community, working together. That type mentality. Just that wouldn't be that part of the program would be available to them. But the rest of it would, the ones that don't actually live in those type of communities. But I think they should be eligible for it if they're a client of Camp Housing Authority. So clarifying what Ms. Hill was saying would be awesome, please. So if there's no other questions or input, that would be all I have for today. Just, unless we get some in by tomorrow, that's what we're going to have to move forward.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Anderson. And we look forward to, getting an update from Ms. Gordon.
And one more thing, off subject of my committee, I will do the Seeker conference, but I'm going to go rent a hotel room because I can't do them at home and office, and so I'm going to go away for 2 days.
Well, I think it's awesome that you have the luxury to do that because everybody else would juggle them all at the same time.
My daughter works for Hilton. I can get a room for $35 a night. I can't do it with life around me. I got in and out of some of them. It was very difficult to do things. So it's life gets in the way. That's the whole point of going to the conferences. So I would love to do the secret, but I'm going to go to the nearest Hilton property.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and approve Ms. Anderson. You can go ahead and process her for the conference. So next on the agenda is nominating and membership committee, Ms. Copeland Miller.
Madam Chair, I have no report at this time.
So where are we with filling the empty seats that we have on the board? Have there been any submissions of nominations?
Madam Chair, I did contact Mr. Albert Coleman to follow up to see if Commissioner Miller wanted to reappoint someone before he leaves office in November, but I've not heard back from them yet. But I did request the board members, if they knew of anyone that was interested, they could submit a resume or a bio. Other than that, I have not scheduled a meeting with the board members, but I will follow up with Mr. Jackson and see if Tampa Family Health Center will submit a letter authorizing him, since his address doesn't meet the low income area. Other than that, I have no report. That's it.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair?
Yes, I think Mr. Vice Chair chimed in first, and then you can go, Ms. Sedano.
Thank you. That representation question, first of all, with regards to the neighborhood resource centers, they are, I guess, according to our bylaws and what have you, we are required to have advisory committees at those locations, or is that a county expectation?
Mr. Henderson, I can take that. That actually was something that the board requested.
Okay, something that the board requested, and I have to admit, I didn't actually look into the bylaws to see what that is outlined as. I had anticipated on discussing this at our bylaws meeting, but if I can have a moment, it was brought to my attention. There's concern that the advisory councils ideally should be used as our, if you would, feeding program, if you will, in terms of filtering people up to the Community Action Board. And the fact that South Shore has no representation because the new chairman of their council does not live within the designated areas, that brought up the question to me, or someone brought up the question to me asking, can that be revised, or can that be looked at again if we are to try to have representation from our advisory councils. Right now, other than West Central and I think both West Central, we only have, and Plant City, I think we have representation. Of course, we don't have representation from the North Resource Center, University Area Resource Center, and now we don't have representation from the South Shore Resource Center as a result of not having someone living in the designated area. So any thoughts on that? It is something that I will be discussing further with our bylaws, but any immediate thoughts or regarding that?
Yeah, unfortunately, Mr. Henderson, the requirement of living in the area, that is a CSBG rule that we maintain. They have to live in a low income area. Although that one person that you mentioned is not eligible because of their living location, maybe someone else that's on the council does meet one of those requirements and would like to step up to the plate. That could be a mechanism that we can look at.
Right, and that mechanism is understood. But if none of them happen to live in the low income area, and not that they weren't attempting, people actually do move up in life, as I know of two of people who are serving on that council still. That's exactly what happened to them. They, got a job, got a better job, got a career, and they, got into, I guess, a not so low income community. So that once again leaves them void of having representation from that advisory council as a result. It's easy to say, yeah, well, they need to recruit someone to serve on that council. And again, the challenge is, with many low income, they have jobs, they aren't, or they don't have the access that we would like them to have. And it just becomes more of a challenge. So I'm again, we don't have to take time to discuss this now, but for those of you who are on the bylaws committee, I will be looking for input and some kind of resolution or options that we can consider as a board. Thank you. And I say thank you, not to cut anybody off if you have a comment to make.
Mr. Henderson, I think you make a good point. So I'm looking forward to the bylaws committee meeting when we have it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, I'd like to ditto what Ms. Miller noted as well. I look forward to hearing the results of the discussions by the Bylaws Committee and commend Mr. Henderson for bringing up a very valid point as well.
And thank you so much. Thank you for Mr. Henderson. Ms. Sodano, I don't want to forget that you wanted to make a comment.
No, my comment was only on the, I just wanted to speak on the Public Information Committee, that we don't have any nothing new to report, except that our meeting is going to be October 14th. Unless there's any questions for the Public Information Committee, I do not have anything new to report.
What happened, I overstepped. I truly apologize for doing that. Thank you for bringing that back around to my attention. And thank you, Ms. Noreen Copeland, for your updates. Now we're down to the board attendance review. I've reviewed it. I don't see, and staff can correct me, where we have any of our board members in jeopardy or that have missed 3 consecutive unexcused meetings. But we do want to keep this on the agenda so we can make sure that we're following through in compliance and reaching out to our board members if we see where our staff is reaching out to our board members if we see if they're starting to miss consecutive meetings. Does anyone have any comments regarding the attendance? I think the virtual meetings are going great. we're definitely having more people attend on the virtual meetings, which is good. So thank you, staff, for making sure that this happens for us for all of our meetings. I really appreciate that. Moving right along.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to hear from staff. Is the county's position at this point with regards to reopenings for the county?
Madam Chair, this is Audrey Ziegler. I'll try to respond. Mr. Henderson, I'm not sure if you recall at the last meeting, I mentioned that the virtual meetings would extend through September. So it's actually not necessarily just a county rule, but we're also following the governor's guidance. So at this point, we don't have the approval to proceed with face-to-face meetings. We're required to maintain a virtual presence until the end of September. If that changes, we'll let you know. We'll have to plan accordingly. Because we have such a large board, social distancing will be a problem. So Maria Gillis and I have already been in communication on, what options we have if we're mandated to go back to face-to-face meetings while there's still social distancing requirements in place. So we'll keep you informed. At this point, there's no changes.
Thank you very much. I just
You're
happened
welcome.
to read in the paper to see the report in terms of the increase of COVID, individuals with COVID and those who have been obviously hospitalized from our school system. So just kind of, I know our company is keeping a close eye on that as to be the bellwether as to whether or not we reopen in the month of October. But thank you.
Right, and we'll also work with our county attorney's office to find out what our options are. Should the county mandate back to face-to-face meetings, we'll find out what options we are as to which guidance we need to follow. So I think because this board is such a large board, when it's a full board, that will create some challenges that maybe other boards won't experience. And so we'll have to, work closely with the county on the guidance they provide so we stay in compliance.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that update. Thank you for that question, Mr. Vice Chair. I was wondering if I didn't want to be jealous that I'm not home, but they are. So moving right along down to Department of Social Services update, Ms. Ziegler.
Good afternoon, board. Thank you again. I'll keep my comments brief, and I'm always available for questions should you have any. So I want to start off by again thanking our board chair, Ms. Rosa Hill, for taking time to meet with me a week or so ago. I've lost track of time, but we had a great conversation, and I can tell you she has a good year planned ahead for all of us. And we talked a lot about communication and how to keep board engaged. So Rosa, thank you again for taking time to meet with me. I really appreciate that. One of the things we talked about was getting to know board members a little bit more intimately and their background and their passion to why they're serving on the board. So one of the things you'll see coming up in our new Community Action Board member meetings will be where we'll be highlighting 2 Community Action Board members at each meeting. So we'll have a brief bylaw. I'm sorry, I have bylaws on my brain. We'll have a brief bio prepared for each of the members that we're highlighting, and either the member will kind of introduce themselves and talk a little bit about themselves, or they'll provide something in writing in which I'll be able to highlight a little bit more about why they're on the board and what they do professionally and personally. So I think that will go a long way with these virtual meetings. One of the things we talked about is some of the side banter that we're not able to do anymore because of after the meeting. We usually took that time to be in community with one another. And so that kind of is a lost opportunity at this point. With the virtual meetings, and because of the Sunshine Law, limits communication quite a bit for electronic purposes. So I think that's going to be a welcome feature in the board. And while it will take away a little bit from board business, I think it'll go a long way with knowing who your board members are and what their expertise levels are and kind of what their passion and interests are. The other thing we talked about was, of course, one of the problems that we've struggled with for quite some time, and Ms. Copeland Miller can attest to this, is how do we have additional participation in our committees and our subcommittees. So we talked about sending out a survey, which has already been prepared. We'll get that out to the board members soon, just for a little bit of kind of generic or open-ended feedback as to which days of the week, which times of the day would work better for the majority of the people, and kind of what types of things are holding people back from joining in. So as board members are able to customize the experience a little bit more, maybe we'll generate some more interest rather than just having a static committee meeting with a delegated and dedicated time to meet, and that's the end of it. So our board chair is really trying to get creative and finding out more from the board members so that everybody has a very rewarding experience while they serve on the board. I'm sorry, I'm losing connectivity. Am I still on? Okay. The last thing I have, which our board chair asked me to mention during my comments, is what types of training opportunities we could have available. So she mentioned that is a priority of hers, is having trained board members, and that will in turn, I think, lead to more engaged board membership. So if you can imagine sitting on a board of this size with some tenured members and then not necessarily having the background yourself, it might be holding some people back from participating. So we are going to be dedicated to training all of our board members. So it'll either be new training for new members, or it might even be a refresher for some members that have been on for some time. One of the most important things that we want to cover is the Roberts Rule training, along with some board engagement. So as you learn, or as members learn how to participate within that framework of the Roberts Rules, also encouraging people to participate within that structure and making it a little less intimidating. So Ms. Gordon does have a deadline to provide me with some options for that training, and her deadline is tomorrow. So once I have those options, I'll be looking at what we can afford and what works with time frame and whatnot, and Maria Gillis and I will further develop the idea. The other thing is there are quite a few other training opportunities that Ms. Gordon is working on, and I've asked her to provide those ideas, as well as what the curriculum will look like, so that we'll have a good menu of services to pick from that the board can pick from, and we'll gain some more information on how to serve the board better and a little bit more background. That's all I have today. We do continue to keep our R3 program open. Accepting applications. There's still additional funding, and services for our core business side, CSBG, ad valorem, and LAHEAP are remaining available as well. So if you call our call center or the Ernst & Young call center, applicants are still able to get connected with all services. So feel free to continue to refer those over. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Ziegler, and I did respond to your email, so that you should have your answer in your email queue.
Thank you so much.
All right, and next, moving on, does anyone have any comments or any questions around Ms. Gillis just presented?
Madam Chair, if I may just chime in regarding this is William Thomas. Just a quick note, Tuesday night about 10:33 p.m., I was delighted to see a R3 commercial in Spanish. It was on TV, a commercial regarding the county funding.
Yes, sir. Our communications department is doing a great job of getting the word out. And I know you did not see me spotlighted in that commercial because my Spanish is not on point. So hired some professionals to send out our messages. So I'm happy to hear that you saw that.
That sounds great, Ms. Ziegler. Evidently, Mr. Thomas's Spanish is on par because he recognized it in Spanish. So that's great.
Maybe that'll be one of our trainings. Our board chair will allow Mr. Thomas to give us a Spanish refresher.
Sounds good to me. Ms. Gillis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will be brief since Audrey covered a lot of information that we have been sharing. The only thing that I did want to share is that Sharon and I had the opportunity yesterday to meet with IIO to discuss the board's wanting to provide internet services for our low-income families. So we had a nice conversation going back and forth, and kind of gave them a framework of what the board was looking for our low-income customers, and to ensure that they have the capability to have internet services. So we don't have any answers yet, but it was a great conversation, and they are researching different avenues that we can look in the future to provide to our customers. So I'm really excited about. Normally, I would say a year ago that conversation would have gone nowhere, and it was really great to have them really banter with us and go back and forth and kind of figure out how we can get this done. So it was very encouraging. So more to come on that, but I did want to let the board know that Ms. Gordon and I did have that conversation, and we are committed to do whatever we need to get this moving forward for our customers.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gillis. Any questions or comments from Ms. Gillis? Okay, if not, Ms. Gordon.
Yes, hello everyone. So I really don't have much to update. We received, just to reiterate what we discussed in Jennifer, Ms. Anderson's update, is we received the resubmission of proposals from the school board EPIC program and Tampa Housing Authority, and pending another proposal that will be in partnership with Feeding Plant City. Feeding Plant City will not be able to apply directly, but they seek to partner with a nonprofit. So tomorrow is the deadline. And based on Mr. Henderson's recommendation, I met last week with Mr. Santos Morales regarding their Wi-Fi I'm getting tongue twisted right now. Their Wi-Fi mesh network. And actually, it's pretty extensive. It's so extensive that they'll be hiring someone full-time to actually manage the network. But it was very enlightening what they're doing, and they're seeking to expand. And they do have like a informal partnership with the county to use some of the facilities to install antennas so that they can provide Wi-Fi access to different parts of the community. So that was really interesting. And so that spinned off to us meeting with IIO to see what we can do within the county, which would be more so like a pilot program with these funds. So as Ms. Gillis mentioned, it's very interesting, and we hope that we can work something out with IIO and provide this service, but more to come. We don't know yet. They're doing their research. Regarding the training, I do have some ideas listed, and it seems as though it goes back to training on board governance. And as Ms. Diegler mentioned, the Roberts Rules of Order. Ms. Copeland-Miller provided two recommendations. One is Benitha McNair. She's a consultant on board governance. And the other one, she provided some slideshow from CapLaw. CapLaw has a lot of great resources on their website. So a lot of webinars, a lot of in-depth information regarding the CSBG grant in its entirety. Programming, administration, legal, operational, federal regulations. So they are definitely a go-to for resources. And I didn't want to put you out there, Mr. Thomas, but for the Roberts Rules of Order, that's more of a parliamentarian related training. So the question is, did you want to train the board or co-train, or would you prefer for us to get outside training from a consultant?
Ouch, been in my arm. Well, Ms. Gordon, I guess in the correct manner, I would probably need to, or would be interested in co-participating in that educational effort. I think that would help me greatly as well and sharpen my skills in the parliamentarian arena. So
okay. Okay, so you want to okay, so I will meet with you offline to get more information on that, because it seems like that will be a in-house type of training instead of getting someone from the outside to provide that training. So, okay. That is all that I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon. Any questions or comments for Ms. Gordon? And again, if the board has any suggestions of types of trainings, please share them with staff. As Audrey mentioned, I threw out a few ideas for her based on my tenure on the board and some things that I've seen and learned and been interested in. So I think the more a person is engaged and the more a person understands, what it is that this board does and how it operates, the more they'll be willing to be engaged in it. So that was my main thought around it. But definitely send your ideas to staff, because not only is it going to be, for right now, we want training to be an ongoing thing for all of our board members, regardless of who sits in the seat as chair. I think training is very, very important to get people interested and more engaged in being active participants on the board. So we are down for the good of the order. And I will start with my apologies again. If I do not respond to anyone in a timely manner, please send me the request. I think several people have my personal cell phone. I will make sure you get that, Ms. Gordon, and Audrey and Maria as well, because sometimes my work phone is so full that I cannot get to all of the voice messages, because it is open to every client in Tampa Housing Authority and the community that has my business card. So my cell phone fills up quite quickly, as well as my email. And just to give you an idea that I'm not more busier than anybody else on this call, but the Housing Authority currently has me working on 3 redevelopment projects. I am in sustainability at the Encore. I am in reoccupancy for West River, and I've just been pulled in to work with the master developer for Robles Park. So that's why I'm saying, if we're going to do something, put it on my calendar as soon as we can, so I can say I'm already booked for that time. Fortunately and unfortunately, I am the only original relocated employee or relocation specialist that the Housing Authority have on staff since we started in 2002. So I have all the history in my head. And they typically come back to me for what happened when and what worked and what didn't. So that is what my world looks like right now. So again, I apologize if I'm responding a little late, but I will try my best to keep up with everything that's going on. So anyone else?
Madam Chair, for the good of the order, I just wanted to make an announcement that I was elected on the East Tampa Partnership Board for the CRA for the East Tampa community. So that was one thing that I'm real happy about. But on that note, this was a great meeting, and I want to thank Ms. Ziegler, Ms. Gillis, and Ms. Gordon for all of the work and the staff that you're doing. But I do want you to know I received 3 calls this morning from people in that East Tampa community that were trying to get assistance, and they were very, they were in a crisis mode. But anyways, I referred them to social services. So you probably got some calls from some people, because that's what, I just gave them the resources that I have and told them they were asking about CARES dollars and LIHEAP, and they were in a panic mode with needing assistance. And I just referred them out to you guys. So that's pretty much it. But you're doing a great job. But I can thank you for the resources that you share with the board so that we can utilize them. So I received 3 calls starting at 8:30 this morning, and I referred them all to social services. And that's the end of my good of the order. So y'all have a great day and stay safe.
Is there anyone else? And I just found this out yesterday, and I don't know if anyone is interested, but they will have a ribbon cutting for the Renaissance at West River next week, Thursday at 9 o'clock. As soon as I get the exact information from our Public Relations Department, I will have Mr. Guida share it with the board if anyone's interested in that. It will start to affect the West Tampa Neighborhood Center again, because people are starting to move back. We have 2 buildings that have started lease up right now. That is the Mary Bethune high rise and the Renaissance. Those are both senior buildings, 62 and older. So I'm sure the West Tampa neighborhoods community will start to see traffic starting to build up there again sooner than later. And that is all I have. If no one else, it is 1:13 p.m. based on my clock, And this meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.
Have a great afternoon.
Have a great afternoon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.